There is exactly 1 week left until the end of summer. And during the whole summer, not one of the tasks assigned to the armed forces of Ukraine was not fulfilled. In a few days, the weather will deteriorate sharply in the combat zone, and the rainy season will begin with an impending cold cyclone. All this will significantly worsen the situation of the Ukrainian army, which has already begun to throw its last reserves into battle. According to military analysts, the collapse of the front from the side of the armed forces of Ukraine has already started, and the reason for this was a competently coordinated offensive of the Russian army in the Kupyansk direction. As a result, the armed forces of Ukraine cannot concentrate all their forces in the south and break through the Russian defense. The words of military analysts were also confirmed by the former colonel of the Ukrainian army, Sergei Grabsky. According to him, the successful offensive of the Russian army in the Kupyansk direction came as a surprise to the Ukrainian armed forces, as a result of which the Ukrainian army failed to achieve its goals in the Zaporizhzhia direction. At the same time, Sergei Grabsky also noted the constant projectile famine of the Ukrainian army and the shortage of weapons. The former colonel of the Ukrainian army claims that this is due to the fact that the armed forces of Ukraine are spending a massive amount of effort and resources in the hope of breaking through the Russian defense in the Zaporizhzhia direction. In fairness, it should be noted that before the beginning of the counteroffensive of the Ukrainian army, the armed forces of Ukraine, in the Zaporizhzhia direction, had multiple advantages not only in manpower, but also in equipment. At the beginning of May, this was also confirmed by General Mark Milley, stating that the armed forces of Ukraine received everything they required for the offensive. Moreover, according to him, in the Zaporizhzhia direction, the Russian army was significantly inferior to the armed forces of Ukraine not only in manpower, but also in the number of artillery installations, drones, and shells. However, unfortunately for General Milley, the Ukrainian army still was not able to break through the Russian defense. Moreover, the Ukrainian army even managed to lose not only 80% of its weapons, but also almost 50,000 soldiers in 2 months of the counteroffensive. It got to the point that the Western press stopped claiming that the armed forces of Ukraine would soon break through the Russian defense and reach the Sea of Azov. Instead, Western media began to cover the battle for the small village of Robotyno, which the Ukrainian army has been trying to capture for 3 months. However, even here the West faced disappointment. It became known that on August 22, Russian troops managed to dislodge the armed forces of Ukraine from the center of Robotyno. At the moment, fighting continues in the north of this village. This fact was also confirmed by the so-called American experts from the Institute for the Study of War. Moreover, the war correspondents in Robotyno declare that the armed forces of Ukraine are suffering huge losses in manpower and are trying to advance along roads strewn with the corpses of Ukrainian soldiers and damaged armored vehicles. The armed forces of Ukraine does this in order to avoid falling into minefields. However, this tactic proved to be useless. Russian gunners simply started shelling all roads with landmine victims, forcing the armed forces of Ukraine to step into minefields, and again lose dozens of their soldiers and equipment. The situation for the armed forces of Ukraine has deteriorated so much that General Zaluzny was even forced to send the last elite reserves into battle for the village of Robotyno. According to the New York Times, the difficult situation at the front forced the Pentagon to take decisive action. So, on August 10, a video conference was held between General Zaluzny and his Western colleagues, General Milley, General Christopher Cavally, and British Admiral Tony Radakin. The New York Times claims that during this video conference, Western generals convinced General Zaluzhny that the armed forces of Ukraine should focus all its efforts and forces only on the Zaporizhzhia direction. In fact, the Pentagon simply ordered the Ukrainian command to concentrate all the forces of the Ukrainian army in one place. And according to insiders, Zaluzhny was forced to agree to this. My friends, the fact that Western generals are ordering the Ukrainian command what to do indicates that the situation of the Ukrainian armed forces is much worse than we think, and it is likely that by the end of this year, the Kyiv authorities will be forced to sit down at the negotiating table and accept all the conditions of Kremlin.